Are you fascinated by the strange and mysterious in our world? Do you find yourself drawn to odd and unusual events or peculiar historical moments that aren't talked about in the history books?
Do you feel as though you have a connection to forces or specters unseen, or that you're not entirely alone in the woods when you go for a hike? Do you think there could be something more out there?
Well, strangers, do we have the podcast for you? I'm Christiana.
And I'm Bree.
Welcome to Something Strange, a podcast covering strange stories ranging from the supernatural, the paranormal, weird history, folklore, and more.
From cryptids to real-life historical figures, from hauntings to peculiar happenings, there's a story here for you. Tune on in the first and third Fridays of each month for our main episodes. But if you can't get enough, check out our mini episodes on the fourth Fridays of each month.
We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, and YouTube. And for even more strange content, check us out on our socials: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok.
For now, strangers, it's time for us to part ways.
Remember to tune on in.
We'll be right here with Something Strange.
Canadian Creepies is recorded on the traditional lands of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples, under the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. These lands and waters have been cared for since long before Canada existed, and they remain deeply important to Indigenous communities today. As we tell stories about darkness, injustice, and memory, I want to acknowledge the very real histories of colonization, violence, and erasure that Indigenous peoples continue to endure. A land acknowledgement can't undo that harm, but it is a reminder to keep listening, learning, and supporting in truth and reconciliation in meaningful ways. We share these stories not to forget, but to shine light, always with respect for peoples and nations whose land we live on. Canadian Creepies covers true crime, dark history, and disturbing events. Some episodes may include graphic descriptions or sensitive subject matter. We do our best to handle every story with care and respect for those affected. That said, we sometimes use humor and sarcasm as a way to process heavy content, never to disrespect victims, survivors, or their families. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to Canadian Creepies. I am your co-host, Valerie.
And I'm the co-host, Amanda Joy.
I'm the co-host, Amanda Joy.
Very sing-songy today.
Yes. Welcome to Canadian Creepies. We are back with Barbara Stoppel, part 1,972,600. I don't even know how to pronounce big numbers.
007.
That's right. No, it's actually Barbara Stoppel, part 7.
Yeah, big case if you've been following along. If you haven't, go listen to the other.
It's a huge case because there's so many. The cops mess up so much.
And it's over the course of 15 years.
Yes.
So there's a lot.
It's a big case because it's a long time. Did I know this when I wrote it on the episode ideas list? No. Did I know this when I threw Christine in and said, let's do the Barbara Stoppel case for your first one? No. I didn't know.
She also found a great resource that had a lot of information too.
And she rose to the occasion. So thank you, Christine, for researching this episode. Here are our references. Stoppel the Book, Province of Manitoba, CBC News, the wrongfulconvictions.ca, the Canadian Encyclopedia, the Corey Wise Innocence Project, the University of Colorado Boulder, the Supreme Court of Canada, and CBC News.
Woot woot.
And we're going to jump right into it, I think.
I'm down.
The last episode, we talked about artist merch call out.
Yes.
That is still in effect. Still want that to happen.
Let's get into it.
Send me an email. Let's talk about it. I actually came up with contracts the other day.
Oh.
So I'm ready for you guys. We can discuss percentages. I have an example I can give you. You can text me. I'm not going to give out my phone number on the air.
Yeah.
But if this is something you're interested in, we will have... Anyway, we will chat about it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a million ways you can get in touch with us. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok,
Please
YouTube.
contact me. And the whole point of this is for artists to make money and
Building a community.
And as well, a portion of what we get will go towards Niagara Reproductive Justice and payyourrent.ca. Our wonderful, they're not sponsors. They don't even, Niagara Reproductive Justice knows.
Yeah.
But so shout out, hey everyone, I volunteer with them.
We got inside connections.
Hell yeah. Shout out NRJ. Check them out.
I actually recommended them to a woman on Facebook
I
the
saw
other
that.
day.
Didn't I?
who
I
was
liked
looking
your
for
comment.
information.
I liked your
Oh,
comment.
yes, you did.
Did you see the comments I was leaving on people's?
No, I hadn't seen it.
Oh, this is funny. You guys, listeners, you'll like this. I go through this phase. I went through this phase on Facebook when I was younger, and I would comment on absolutely everything, and I would fight everyone in the comments.
Oh, same with me.
And then I stopped doing that because I was like, this is bad for my nervous system.
I got a violation on Facebook for doing it.
And you just get too invested. So I was like, you know what? I'm not doing that anymore. But if there is an abortion, like a local abortion post, I will read the comments and I will respond back to some of them. And somebody was looking for resources. That one you commented on.
Yeah.
And somebody had commented a link to Clarity, which is a Christian place. They don't help access abortion at all. They try and convince you to keep the baby. And we have a lot of those places in Niagara.
Under the guise
that they're going to help you. Yes.
They don't have all that information out front and center.
They don't.
Because it's a coercion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. They also don't have any access to medical equipment you can't get an ultrasound or blood work done there.
Yeah,
so just to let you know. But so one person commented anonymously. They commented anonymously, Clarity will help you, blah, 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 and followed up with some religious, God bless you. And I commented with my name because I'm not going anonymous. I'll say it with my full chest. I commented, Clarity will absolutely not help anyone. They're an anti-choice organization. And then somebody later in the thread commented Clarity as well. And I said, you are poo, Clarity is too. Anti-choice is anti-human, heart.
It's very similar to the
Full
text
chest.
message you sent to Doug Ford the other day.
Yes. You are poo. I just like to start with how I genuinely feel and build off that.
Yeah.
He never
Yeah.
responded.
And for anybody out there, abortion and access to abortions is actual healthcare.
It's healthcare. Thank you.
It is healthcare. My body, my choice.
Don't
Your
fucking
body,
fight with
your
me.
choice.
Don't fight with me.
Yeah. This is a conversation you will not win.
You won't win. And it's not open for debate on this podcast. Okay, now we're gonna get into it. Sorry, I tried not to.
We got a little sidetracked.
Sorry. What do you want me to do? Okay. So we're gonna talk about another interview with Terry.
Ass butt.
Terry Assbutt. Terry the Assbutt Arnold. When Andrew arrived back to Winnipeg from Vancouver Island, he received a page, because it was the early 2000s.
I think so.
Yeah. From
2001.
From Suzanne Wilton, which was the crime reporter.
Yes.
So he called her when he got the page and learned that Terry had phoned her earlier. He was incensed at her article and said he would be writing a book titled Death of a Reporter, and it would be a true story. She was in fear for her safety, and no one could blame her.
What are you doing?
Ooh, Terry,
is this another
from behind
manifesto?
bars,
Who do
from-
you think you are? Ted Kaczynski? We got a Unabomber here?
Oh, before we get too into it, dang it, I've been meaning to share this. Someone commented on one of our very recent episodes when we were talking about the Golden State Killer. Do you remember?
Oh, yes.
Somebody corrected me, which I was very grateful for. There it is. John Leonard Orr was the fire inspector that was setting fires. Mm-hmm. And he's thought to have set over 2,000 fires. And the Golden State Killer was a cop and later a mechanic. Two different people.
I didn't know that he was later
person.
a mechanic. I did know that he was a cop, though.
And that was commented by Shannon. Shannon, my friend, I don't want to use your full last name without your consent. So I'm going to say Shannon SN commented that on Spotify. Thank you for correcting me with that. Really appreciate it.
I was going to say, I didn't see that comment on social.
No, yeah, it was on Spotify. So yeah, thanks for helping us out with that. And shout out Shannon. Thanks for listening.
We like true crime fans.
I'm doing the tea thing. You're doing it with your nails. I'm doing it with my fingies because I play bass. But
yeah, the long fingernails do not go with bass playing.
On March 22nd, 2001, investigators received information that Arnold had obtained documents pertinent to their case from his sister Tracy by mail. The document was part of past information to obtain a search warrant which had been sealed. As such, her actions may be seen as an obstruction of justice. The information itself had predominantly already been released through Suzanne Wilton's articles and Andrew's own unsealed palm print warrant. So the information mostly had already been released anyway. Although the document posed no harm to any of their cases, it nonetheless afforded them another opportunity to obtain a warrant to retrieve the documents. Once again, Andrew wrote a search warrant for Arnold's cell, and back to Vancouver Island the investigators flew.
Because didn't they make it so that all of the warrants were public instead of private?
Yes, I believe so. On March 26, 2001, Andrew went to the segregation unit at the William Head Institution. Arnold had already been, I'm going to call him Terry or else it's going to be Andrew and Arnold the whole time. Terry had already been placed in an interview room and he had been searched. I've got a warrant for your cell, Terry. We are looking for this document Tracy sent you, Andrew said. He couldn't believe it. Terry's back was actually against the wall. He could see the determination in Andrew's eyes. He had quickly gotten out of his chair and moved backwards, claiming that Andrew was intimidating him. What a goof. Oh, jail people don't like it when you say that word. What a stupid head. What a stupid head.
Ass butt?
What an ass butt. Yeah, that's
my word of the day.
That's it. So I want to be respectful of people who don't like the word goof, I guess. I don't know.
I want to know if anybody recognizes where ass butt came from either.
Okay. He could see, I read that. Mm-hmm. Terry walked with Andrew down the range to his cell and pointed. Does it look like you're recording? Say something? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. My little thing is moving along with your little thingy.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, sorry. Arnold walked with Andrew down the range to his cell and pointed out the area where the letters were kept. Andrew thanked him and directed him back to the interview room to wait. The search was completed by 2:40 p.m. after Andrew located what he had come for.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Andrew and Sergeant Vogan then returned to the interview room. Vogan began questioning Arnold with his notebook and pen out, causing Terry to adamantly protest. He now refused to speak with the investigators, demanding nothing be documented. Once again, he wanted control.
Dude, you're in prison for murder.
Straight up.
You have no control.
Control.
Any control and freedom that you had should be stripped away from you.
I agree with you. Andrew offered to come back the following day for a chat if he was willing. To his surprise, Terry agreed and even offered to provide blood for a DNA sample. But he wanted to speak with Andrew in private, with no recordings and no one else around. Andrew agreed. As he waited for Terry in the interview room the following day, he knew this may be his last chance to get anything out of him. The inquiry was progressing and Ken would be testifying in a few days. Ugh. I know, hate him. If it came out that he destroyed exhibits in the investigation, he destroyed exhibits, the investigation would be, for all intents and purposes, over. The next 3 hours would haunt them both for quite some time. This was going to be the last time the two of them would speak. Terry walked into the room and Andrew approached him and again shook his hand. His hair was unkempt and as usual, he was enamored in his own body odor. Ew. As requested, Andrew did not write any notes until he left the room with the exception of documenting times. The interview was not recorded, but he did his best to recall the conversation. Terry maintained that he wanted to talk off the record. During his life, Terry had been interviewed by numerous other investigators with limited success. Much like he could read his victims, he also had a good working knowledge on police interviewing techniques. To take him off guard, investigators needed to be more off the wall so he wouldn't know where they were coming from or going. Terry was focused on giving Andrew his blood and hair samples in an effort to see where he stood in the case. Andrew wanted it to appear as though it was the furthest thing from his mind. Prior to reading the blood and hair request for a DNA sample, Andrew strongly recommended that Terry call his lawyer. He replied that he already had and was instructed not to give a sample, but he was still willing. Wow, that's cocky, eh? What ego. In fact, the only condition he gave to providing a sample was that Andrew promised not to tell his lawyer. That was a rather juvenile request, but Andrew wholeheartedly agreed. Sure, no problem. I will not tell your lawyer.
I mean, realistically, they could just get a warrant.
Yes.
But I think, didn't they say in the last episode that we did that they didn't have anything to test it against? So really, they couldn't have gotten a warrant. I think the entire idea of getting the DNA was to make him think he was on the ropes and give him some sort of control. Because really, they couldn't do anything with his DNA.
Yeah. Terry now gave Andrew a lecture on blood analysis and the difference between nuclear DNA and mitochondrial DNA. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. He did seem to know this stuff, which is likely why he shaved his genitalia to decrease the chances of leaving hair and DNA during his rapes. Gross. We hate it.
Also, he thinks he's huge and everyone else is like,
maybe that's, he was actually shaving for perspective.
He was trying to make himself look bigger.
Yeah.
Look at how huge I am.
Yeah, he did it in like one of those like triangles. That's like. As he talked, Andrew mulled over why he was feeling so confident in giving the samples, especially without a warrant and against his lawyer's advice. The following rationale became evident. 1. Barb did not pull his hair, therefore no hair roots and no DNA. 2. He didn't bleed at the scene, therefore no DNA. 3. He didn't sexually assault Barb, therefore no DNA.
I thought she was sexually assaulted.
I thought so too.
Wasn't that like one of the first things we said was that she was raped? Now I gotta Google this.
Google it. I'll keep going. Or is this saying, I think we should just keep going because I think this is saying that this is what Terry is
thinking.
You know? The following rationale became evident. So yeah, I think this is like what Terry's thinking. He's like, I didn't sexually assault her. Mm-hmm. Or he didn't leave any semen. He didn't leave any DNA.
I thought they found semen at the scene.
I was thinking
maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe we've confused this with something else.
It has
because we did talk about some creeps of the week with semen involved,
and he has been involved in
rapes.
Many other rapes.
I know, so I think we should just keep going.
Oh, you know what? I think I'm thinking of the one girl who was murdered in the alley by his apartment building. Yeah, one of the first ones, and they did find semen on her.
Yes, because there are people that he's found semen on. Okay, look, you are recording. Thank Jeebus.
This happened to us once before where my mic wasn't recording. God. We had to read.
And if we if we turned mine up, then all you could hear is me like, when you're talking. So no.
Val is not that creepy in real life. Don't worry.
Like that cartoon character in Hey Arnold. Okay. After taking his blood, Andrew stood behind him with tweezers in his hand to remove hair samples complete with roots. He yanked at his hair and withdrew the sample and sat down in front of him once again. Andrew then went into a well-rehearsed summary of the murder and others, showing a consistent MO of uncontrollable rage caused by perceived rejection. Arnold now talked about Jackie, who saw him going into the Ideal Donut Shop with twine in his hands on the night of the murder. For some reason, he appeared to be confusing witnesses. And this is a conversation between Terry and Andrew. Terry says, "There's no way anyone could see twine in my hands. It was snowing that night with near blizzard conditions," he claimed. Andrew felt this was a challenge for him to see just how much he knew. Andrew then replied, "Terry, it was minus 13 degrees Celsius that night with an overcast sky, a slight breeze, and no recorded precipitation. I think it's time we cut the bullshit. And besides, Jackie saw you with the twine days earlier." Once again, Arnold lowered his head and Terry lowered his head and stared at the floor. "Let's leave Barb's murder alone for a while, Terry. You're here convicted of the murder of Christine Brown, a murder you admitted to. Hell, you even took them to the place you left her. I'll admit, there's a chance you could win your appeal, but that would be on a technicality, and we both know you raped and murdered her. Denise Lapierre is another one you should be worried about. Just like you bit Peter Compley in the face and one of your youth workers in the hand, you bit Denise. We have your dental impressions, and a comparison is being conducted by experts. Biting her was a mistake, Terry. It's like leaving behind a fingerprint." Terry: "I knew her, yes," Terry said. "She came over for a coffee once and had a cut on her finger." "What?" "I gave her a Band-Aid. If there's blood, that would be why."
Not
said.
that much blood. Come on, Terry.
"She cut her hand. I gave her a Band-Aid."
She had a little paper cut.
But he said that quivering ever so slightly as he spoke. Andrew: "Careful now, Terry. Think about it. What if we find blood in the shower drain? You didn't put her Band-Aid on in the shower, did you?" He was getting to him. Terry sat in his chair, looking confused, trying to defend himself against fact. Then Andrew brought up the 8-year-old child he raped. "That's bullshit, they say." Oh, then Terry says this awful thing. "That's bullshit. They say I fucked her up." I don't want to say it.
The back door.
Yeah, the back door. "That's bullshit. They say I backdoored her. I would have broke her in half. I happen to be well endowed." I'm sorry.
I would literally be like, whip it out.
Yeah, show me.
Whip it out. Show me, big boy. Show us what you're working with.
And don't lie and say you're a shower, not a grower. Wait, a grower, not a shower. Have you ever heard a guy say that?
Not to me specifically, but I have heard of it, yeah.
Andrew had been waiting a long time for Terry to utter those words again. Andrew then said, "What did I say earlier about respect, Terry? Your dad told me your cock was so small that if you didn't tie a string to it, you wouldn't know it was there. And Victoria said you had a peanut dick, so don't bullshit me." This caught him off guard. Instead of being insulted by what Andrew had said, he appeared impressed at how much he knew.
That's weird.
Yeah. Andrew then said, "Okay, Terry, let's play a game. You be the detective here and look through my eyes. What do you see?" he asked. He paused, leaned back in his chair, and replied. Terry then said, "If I was to go to the donut shop that night, it was not for some robbery. Look at my record. There's no robbery. There was $33 stolen, but it's not my primary motive. The money is an afterthought. It would be incidental, not the primary reason." Terry appeared genuinely upset that people would think it was a robbery gone wrong. It somehow offended him.
Because it's all ego. He wants to seem like he is like the big shot. You know, I'm too good for robbery.
Weirdo. You're just a weirdo, dude. Andrew then said, "And what, Terry? What would be the reason?" Terry: "If I was going to go there that night to Barb's shop, it would be to sexually assault her," he revealed. He appeared to be getting a bit nervous and tried to change the subject. Andrew: "Okay, let's go back to your sexual assault theory. The twine was brought so you could tie her up and sexually assault her, but you went too far. You wrapped the twine twice around her neck, making a knot, and she passed out. When she passed out, she also lost control of her bowels. The mood is gone, and it's time for self-preservation. You cut the twine and left her on the floor and took some cash and left. Terry then said, I don't have a history of tying people up. I can overpower them. And he said it defensively. Andrew then said, Barb was a strong 16-year-old girl who could fight back. Don't bullshit me. He now started to reflect on the Mr. Big sting the RCMP did on him. They had him convinced that they were all Hell's Angels, and he wanted to join them in whatever role he could. Arnold then changed the subject to the Sophonow inquiry and what the witnesses were saying. Andrew told him that the guy he was fighting on the bridge admitted that he lied in court and couldn't identify Sophonow. He also told him that he wore glasses back then, but they were knocked off in the scuffle. Terry smiled and put both hands behind his head and confidently stated, he'll never be able to identify me. Andrew then smiled back and Terry became defensive, stating quickly, because I wasn't there. I didn't do it.
Was that a little slip there,
Yeah.
Mr. Terry Arnold?
Because I didn't do it.
Well, and John's passed away at this point as well.
Yes.
The Christmas tree kid who fought him on the bridge.
Yeah. Andrew felt that he had learned what happened the night of the murder. Arnold waited for Barb to be alone and planned to rape her. He locked the front door of the donut shop and waited for her to clean the woman's washroom. He then pushed her from behind and her head struck the sink, knocking her out instantly. He quickly tied her up, imitating what he had seen cowboys do to calves. This was his moment of revenge for being rejected. Barb had lost control of her body functions, which even for him spoiled the mood. He needed to get out. He cut the string that bound her, but neglected to take it from around her throat. He didn't get what he came for that night, but decided not to leave empty-handed. He took $33 from the till and calmly walked out the front door after turning the sign to closed. Terry was put on suicide watch shortly after Andrew left. Perhaps he felt uneasy after giving him his blood, his hair, and telling him a bit too much. He also wrote his last will and testament and sent it to his sister. They arrived back in Winnipeg, armed with lots of incriminating comments, but still a confession case, much like Calgary's. It was now March 29th, 2001, and what investigators had feared for so long just became a reality. Ken admitted on the stand at the public inquiry that he destroyed exhibits and took some home. City lawyers were instructed to keep out of the inquiry. The headlines would soon destroy them. Key information missing. Sophonow inquiry told of missing evidence.
Like, way to just keep fucking over Sophonow.
It just keeps happening, over and over and over. The only information that they needed to keep out of the inquiry was the destruction of exhibits. The case was now lost. Andrew submitted his report, and on his final visit with Terry... Andrew submitted his report, and on his final visit with Terry, but we don't know if anyone actually read the report.
Because nobody's read any of the reports.
They haven't read anything. It's just employ people to read the fucking reports.
That's literally their job.
Our generation is looking for a job. The Stoppel investigation was no longer sexy, as some politicians would put it. On May 1st, 2001, Leggy called Andrew to let him know that he was being transferred to the Professional Standards Unit. Leggy was also being transferred, and the unit was disbanding, and they were being discarded like yesterday's waste.
Everything about this is gross. This whole case.
Oh, fuck.
I really like what Christine has titled this next section.
Me too. Me too.
An idiot released.
Yay. Yay, Christine. And while we're on the topic of Christine, just like some really fun stuff coming up with her. She has like some interviews planned for some upcoming topics. Like Christine really said, I was like, hey, can you do, like, I put a call out for some researchers, and Christine literally said, I will research and then some. I will go above and beyond. I will Buzz Lightyear your ass.
And she did.
And she did. She's going to infinity and beyond. And thank you, Christine.
She has quickly become a concrete member of the Canadian Creepies family.
And then there were 3. Well, 4 or 5, actually. There were 5 of us. And the Welland Road City Festival asked us to be in the parade.
Which is kind of awesome.
Like, we could wear just sheets one time.
Yes. and
get a banner and just walk with a banner.
We could get those the red and black striped Halloween stockings.
Yes.
And wear the sheets so that you can see our little
just like the logo.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we'll have a
exactly.
banner, Canadian Creepies podcast. Not this year.
We're gonna it was too short notice for us to do it this year, but
for next year that would be so funny.
My dad has a big truck too that we could use.
That would be so fun. Okay, well, and if anybody wants to be involved in that, here in the Welland or Niagara region. Okay,
so
that was a good
little interlude.
I like it.
I like it.
Yeah.
So while Andrew was going about his new duties, he learned from Constant Gary Appleton of the, help me out with this word here because I can never say it.
Hold on, I didn't even have it open. Kelowna.
I cannot. You know what other word I cannot say?
What?
Massachusetts. Thank you.
Massachusetts.
I can never say it right.
That one's hard.
Never. I completely changed what the Down the Crooked Path podcast episode was going to be because it had that name mentioned too many times. I was like, I can't do it.
I was listening to Macabre Mondays the other day, and Ale cannot say Arnold Palmer.
I love her.
I know, she was like, Arnold Palmer. Like, it was so funny. I was dying.
How much did Tom make fun of her?
A lot. A lot. He was like, try again. Arnold. She was like, Arnold. He was like, Palmer. And she was like, Palmer. It was really funny.
They're so cute. I love them.
I love them.
So they went to the RCMP there on August 29th, 2001.
In Kelowna.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
He had reviewed the report on Terry and was 80% sure that Andrew would be required to testify in the Christine Brown murder case. A new trial would possibly be set for early next year in New Westminster. I got really tongue-tied there.
Winmester, BC. I knew what you were doing. Westminster.
Yes,
that's what we landed on.
And it would likely take about 2 months for the trial. Terry's defense would hinge on the assertion that he was so afraid of the Hells Angels and the Mr. Big Sting that he had confessed to anything. Andrew would testify that this was not the case, and Terry bragged to him that they were all great guys and it was easy money. Terry, you're a fucking wimp.
Honestly.
On September 5th, 2001, Andrew inadvertently met with Rick Saul. He had not heard about the last interview with Terry or the developments in the Brown murder case. The inquiry into Sophonow's wrongful conviction had finished in June of 2001, and the cost of the inquiry was about $4,056,797.
That was great.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Sophonow would soon receive $2.6 million in compensation.
Wow. Well, it was the early 2000s.
Well, how long was he in jail for? 3 years, maybe? On and off? I don't know, because how long was he? Was he on bail when he had because he had 3 trials.
Yeah.
Was he on bail for those trials? Or was he I know he was in prison for a good while.
3 years and 9 months.
Fucking.
Yeah.
Plus the 15 years after turmoil
yes,
that he's had to live through being an accused.
And having to basically find the real killer himself.
I mean, doing the police work for them.
Crazy.
Andrew and Saul laminated on how all of this...
Lamented. Sorry.
Laminated. How all of this could have been avoided if someone had simply reviewed the files all the years ago. As they chased down their coffees, they also discussed the issue of the exhibits and why Andrew was not allowed to get a warrant. Yeah, because he wanted to get a warrant for the exhibits.
Yes.
Do you think that he actually destroyed everything, or did he keep most of it?
He's probably kept it. It's in a box
I think he's kept
somewhere.
it. I definitely think he's kept it.
In a box somewhere.
The failings of the investigation were tampered by the possibility that Andrew would be able to testify against Arnold and potentially keep him behind bars. On October 16th, 2001, Andrew was contacted by the lead Crown attorney, Vern Frolick. Mm-hmm. That's a great name. Vern Frolick. In Penticton. I had this the other day in an episode that I did for the Canadian Creepies Patreon.
Nice.
Yes, I haven't posted it yet, but if you're listening, that's a shout out for our Patreon.
Yeah, shout out for the Patreon. We're also going to do, probably after the Barbara Stoppel case, I already brought it up to Kyle.
Good.
And the reason we're going to do video behind a paywall is because we record in my house.
Yeah.
So if you want to see what my living room looks like, I'm sorry. You got to pay.
You get to see the animal chaos that is our lives.
Yeah.
So,
And me with my feet up in my messy socks.
my bare feet.
Your bare feet.
all the time. So Frolic believed that the following information obtained during the investigation was of key importance in Terry's, I did it too, Arnold and Terry, in Terry's prosecution. One was during one of the interviews Andrew had with Terry alone, he confided that he would be willing to make a deal on some of the charges if his appeal didn't come through. So that's a roundabout way of admitting guilt.
Yes.
And the other one was during the last interview, he made numerous comments that damaged his defense in the Christine Brown murder, including how he would commit a murder and his role with undercover RCMP who were disguised as Hell's Angels. Frolic also said that Andrew would be required to testify in the new trial. He formally requested that copies of hundreds of pages of interviews and notebooks be forwarded to him prior to November 2001. He had inherited a complex case with inherent historical problems and new dilemmas which were not presented at the first trial. That was part of why all the trials got thrown out.
So many.
Although he was not assigned to the case, in fact, no one was. He received another call from Frolic on November 1st of 2001. He advised that Terry, through his lawyer, had rejected an offer from Winnipeg on the Stoppel murder. Apparently, they offered a life sentence. The BC Crown's office had also offered a deal in the Christine Brown case. That was for manslaughter, 10 years with no dangerous offender designation, and the time had to start now. So usually they will back the time for how much time you've been in prison while they're building a case against you before you go to trial.
Yes.
But this wouldn't include that time. His lawyer had given an indication that he would recommend the offer to him. 1 week later, Andrew learned that from Frolic that Terry had rejected the BC's offer. Terry. He also advised that Andrew would no longer be required to testify. They didn't want to have anything to do with the Sophonow case in their trial, as it would confuse the issue of wrongful convictions. On March 29th, 2002, at 1 p.m., Andrew received a phone call from Bob Legge.
Hate him.
Apparently, he had just spoken with Terry's father, Sam.
Also hate him.
There's a lot of hateable people in this
Hateable
case.
men. A lot of hateable men.
Terry had called him collect and told him that his charges were dropped and that he had been released.
Not a chance.
Since there was no one working on the case, no one was sure how to confirm this information.
Or was he actually?
I mean, this section, Christine did title it an idiot released.
Okay. Sorry. There's always a chance. So you're saying there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, that's right.
Andrew was on holiday, but he felt the need to notify the Stoppel family if the report was true. Good on Andrew.
Yep.
He drove to the Professional Standards Unit and contacted the authorities on Vancouver Island. Arnold had been released with a stay of proceedings on all charges.
Holy.
So a stay of proceedings in Canada is a legal order that halts, pauses, or terminates a court case, either temporarily or permanently. It can be initiated by the Crown, the prosecution, to pause charges for up to 1 year, or by a judge as a remedy for abuse of process or charters of rights violation. Mm-hmm. He was out of jail.
Okay. Free to rape again.
No one contacted the Winnipeg Police Service with this information. No one could. The phone lines to the reinvestigation unit had been taken out several months earlier.
Out of service several months earlier. That's wild.
You guys are all...
So even if you had a tip, you couldn't have called in.
You couldn't have called in.
Okay.
Andrew spent most of the night making notifications, but the first was the hardest. Barb's family had been through enough, and he was about to give them one more dagger of pain. He called Rick Stoppel and let him know the news. We had screwed up the first investigation and the second, and now the murderer was a free man. I don't think the second one was necessarily screwed up so much as they hit so many roadblocks.
Yeah.
And like the assholes from the first investigation destroyed much of what you could have used to have a healthy second investigation.
For real. Yeah.
But I guess you would feel like you failed the family and the case. Projection. Rick took the news better than Andrew did, perhaps being used to disappointment over the years. No one else from the service bothered to update him on the release, and you wonder why victims and their families always feel so alone. Arnold was last seen in Victoria, but no one had any idea where he would be staying. A few days later, Andrew, Rick, and his wife Bess were out for coffee. Rick and his family were incensed that they were being lied to. Uwatsky, this guy again, was quoted in the Free Press saying that the murder investigation was ongoing, yet there was no one working on the case. You lying asshole. Rick was also concerned that Terry may learn where he and his family had lived since the police failed to black out his address from the inquiry.
Wow.
Just another fuck up. Once again, Andrew...
These are like... Sorry, I just had some of my pen. These are like big holes. These are like big gaps.
Right?
Like nobody dotted the I's and crossed the T's.
You know what was redacted pretty good, though? The Epstein files.
Yeah.
Once again, Andrew was taking the brunt of other people's mistakes. He also recalled that Uwatsky told him at his house that Terry was the killer, but they needed a confession in front of a judge to convict. If that was the case, why say it's ongoing? Mm-hmm. After coffee, Andrew contacted Jeff Gall of the Pennington Crown's office. He apologized for not notifying the other agencies, but once the stay of proceedings was entered, they had no choice but to release him. They had completed a file review with several crowns and came to the conclusion that they could not proceed with any likelihood of success. Instead of risking the acquittal in the case, at a retrial, they decided to stay the charges and possibly charge him later.
Okay.
I kind of... So you can continue to build the case behind the scenes while he's out. And then just be like, yeah, we're recharging you. Because what is it, double jeopardy, where you can't try someone for the same crime twice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You cannot. Yeah.
Something had to be salvaged from this mess. Andrew strongly recommended that a Section 8 to 10 order be placed on Andrew so that he could be monitored consistently. Apparently, the Pennington RCMP Staff Sergeant Fellner had already been assigned to do just that. Well, hopefully. Andrew contacted him on April 3rd, 2002 to review Terry's history and insist on an urgency of monitoring him. He, too, was also taken off guard with Terry's release and had to notify Christine Brown's parents. Like, these families. Andrew received another call from Rick Stoppel. Something had now occurred that upset him even more than the frustrations of all the trials and the lack of success in the reinvestigation. He had been listening to the CJOB on the radio and had heard Uwatsky state that the investigation team is still working together for over 2 years, working on it on a daily basis and nothing else. You rat bastard.
You are a rat bastard, sir.
I hate this guy
I know,
so
he's the worst.
much.
I don't like any of them.
I don't like Ken.
No.
I don't like Leggy.
We don't like Ken. We don't like Leggy. We don't like
Uwatsky. Birchill. I don't like him
we don't
either.
like you.
Unfortunately, Andrew told him that there was no one working on the case and that there hadn't been for months. This was a public relations nightmare for the Winnipeg Police Service. Rick went to the media, resulting the following headlines in the Winnipeg Free Press. April 4th, 2002, murder victim's brother fears case has stalled. Stoppel wants to meet investigator Uwatsky. Uwatsky was then quoted saying, "This case is certainly not closed. It still continues to be an active investigation." Rick learned differently when he found that the phone line for the alleged ongoing investigation was no longer in service. "I feel Jack," which is Uwatsky, "it's not working in the best interest of Barb and the Manitobans. If the RCMP could supervise to ensure the Winnipeg police is indeed doing their best for Barb." This is what Rick told the media.
Right.
In response, possibly to the news article, Andrew was requested to attend a hastily called meeting at the Public Safety Building Crimes Office. Present were Mick Caskell, John Burchill,
Hate him.
Paul Brown.
Don't remember if I like him or not.
Blair Vaughan.
Don't really like him, I don't think.
Bob Legge.
Nope.
And constables Bruce Heumann and Jeffrey Conway. I don't know if we like them or not.
No.
They reviewed the concerns of Stoppel in the media and the release of Terry. They all agreed that there was no ongoing investigation and nothing more to investigate. It was recommended by Andrew that they should come clean with the family and that all they wanted was the truth. In fact, after what they had been through, they deserved nothing less. Very keen, Andrew. He couldn't believe what he heard in response. The conversation actually turned to who they would say was the lead investigator. Rick Stoppel had been told previously that it was Blair Vaughan, then Miss McCaskill, and now they were debating if they could say it was Paul Brown. Was this some sort of pathetic comedy routine?
Yes.
Andrew was adamant that they would just tell the truth. The case is done. Finally, it was agreed that there was no lead investigator.
Oh, great. Okay.
So nobody
Just
is
fucking say that.
nobody is taking the blame for it failing, and yeah. Andrew received a phone call from McCaskill later that day and said that he had spoken with Uwatsky. They could now say that there were only part-time investigators working on the case and no one full-time, which is still a lie.
Yeah.
Uwatsky would arrange for a meeting with the Stoppel family to address their concerns, and Andrew would most likely be required to attend as well. He wanted no part of it and declined. On April 12th, Andrew set up a conference call with BC and Crown attorneys Rick Saul and Dale Schill to learn what had happened in their case. The following participants attended the call: Vern Frolick, Crown of Pennington; Brad Chapman, Crown of
Kelowna.
Thank you. I just point to Val now. You got it.
I know.
Jeff Gall, Crown of Victoria; David Winkler, Crown of BC; Dale Shrill of the Crown of Winnipeg; and Rick Saul, Crown of Winnipeg. They discussed the case at length and all came to the same conclusion. Everyone believed that Terry was guilty of murdering Christine Brown, but the stay of proceedings was appropriate under the law. The rationale for the decision was due to several problematic issues that could not be overcome with a new trial. They may be best summarized as the following. The first is the first trial, the confession to the Mr. Big undercover officers was the case. The jury accepted the confession and convicted Terry, where the judge likely would have not. 2, the disclosure of evidence was entered late. 3, Arnold claimed that he was afraid for his life. Was the possibility for him making the false confession. This has a
false admission.
Yes,
yeah.
Sorry, confession, admission.
Okay.
Yeah. This had been a long issue with the Mr. Big operations. 4 was even though Terry took undercover officers to the scene of the crime, he would later say that it was his friend, Robin Douglas, who was the murderer. 5, the body of Christine Brown was found months after her death, and therefore there was a lack of forensic evidence. 6, Douglas gave the police numerous statements, each conflicting with each other, which works towards Terry's, what's the word I'm looking for? Terry's excuse.
Yes.
7, recently a graveyard specialist determined that Christine's pants and panties were both on, not torn off. Douglas stated that Terry raped her and threw her panties away, which could not be true. And finally, 8. When Douglas was asked in his last statement how much of it was true, he replied, about 90% of it.
Ugh.
Andrew still maintained that if Douglas had done the murder, Terry would have implicated him during the Mr. Big operation. After all, he had no problem telling the police that Sophonow confessed to him. Had the RCMP's Mr. Big operators known about Arnold being a suspect in the Stoppel murder or the murder of Denise Lapierre in Calgary, he may have admitted to those as well. Unfortunately, no one bothered to review the file until 1999.
Why would they?
Arnold's lawyer did indicate that his client would never make a deal with the Stoppel case, but may in the Brown and Lapierre case. And what about Terry himself? While they were all scrambling, he was a free man living in Victoria, still angered by the investigators sabotaging his jailhouse romance. He sent emails to his former fiancée, Terry.
Wow.
The unedited contents amplified his emotional stagnation. Darlene, I don't care if you read this or not, as I'm going to say it. I'll not let you do the asshole control thing over me once again, buddy.
Come on.
I'm not in jail now, you ungrateful cow.
Wow.
And I don't think I'm just some idiot that your stupid brainless friends. You have been a thief of my time, my heart, and my doings for far too long. You are a hurtful, hateful bitch who will forever be alone in this world.
Wow.
You are ugly and your eyes are too close.
Okay.
Buddy, take a bath.
Yeah.
Like,
grow a penis.
your friends are idiots and morons, and no wonder Sarge told you to take a hike. You have fucked me over twice now, and I'll never give you the opportunity to do it again. You need to get a life. Don't ever attempt to contact me ever or any member of my family or extended family. Thank you, by the way. I won $50 from my mom, as she didn't believe you would grow as you would be such a cow once again. You really take the cake. Everything I told you about me has been a total lie. This is just a rant.
I know. Here he goes.
And I like how he's like, don't contact me again. She didn't.
Yeah.
You contacted her.
You're sending her an email.
Everything I told you about me has been a total... Everything you told...
No, everything.
Yeah, sorry. Everything I told you has been a total lie since I started calling a few days ago. I now know how you can be so... Do you really think I would give you any of my personal information about what I do or where I go? You fucked me once. I'd not let you have that opportunity to do that to me again, you dumb moron. My mom hates your guts,
Okay.
and my sister would tear your eyes out if she ever met you. As for me, good riddance to bad trash, I say.
I swear I've gotten this exact text from a man.
Pretty sure I've sent this exact text. I'm going to be a little toxic. You're not worth my time or energy to ever come to Ontario. And if I did come there, it would be to see my dying skunk rat of a father.
My lying skunk rat of a father.
You are a waste of skin
Whoa.
and a total loss as a human being. You should do the world a favor and
my
go
God, it
hang
just goes
yourself.
on and on.
Yeah, I'm not done yet.
I know.
So thanks for playing dumb games with me and thinking I was falling for your crap once again, you loser. This is my last letter to you, and I really hope you're paying attention and do not respond now or in the future or try to use someone I know to do your little message thing. End of story. This ride is over. I still have the email where you said I could email you, and I will keep that in case you try your funny little bullshit games with me. Keep the pics you conned out of me because you can just go fuck yourself with them. I hate you forever. All feelings are, in bold letters, ice cold where you are concerned. This is no more, and you will not hear from me ever again. So make certain to follow the letter of your last email, and don't ever contact me or my family again. I hope this is perfectly clear to you. I don't know how to make it any clearer, but if you are so fucking dense, you probably still don't. But you are so fucking dense that you probably still don't get it, do you? Goodbye.
Kyle, can you add in like a studio applause here? Yeah, you. Still haunting the same old fast fashion? Time to dig up something better with Back from the Dead Goods, a Canadian small business where forgotten threads get a second life and sustainability meets spooky. This isn't just upcycled clothing. It's resurrected fashion with an eerie edge. Handpicked, reworked, and revived, every piece is as unique as a ghost story whispered at midnight. And because you're a part of the Canadian Creepies family, you get an exclusive deal. Use code Canadian Creepies at checkout for 10% off. Find them lurking on Instagram, Etsy, and Poshmark. Links are in the episode description. Give your wardrobe a second chance at life. If you dare. Hey creeps, it's Valerie here. And if you're anything like us, you love capturing a moment, whether it's spooky, sweet, or somewhere delightfully in between. Let me introduce you to our go-to for stunning shots, darkroom photography based right here in the heart of the Niagara region. Mel, the brilliant eye behind the lens, is a lifestyle and creative photographer who brings a little bit of magic and maybe a touch of mystery to every session. She's got all her prices listed right on her website, super transparent, no tricks. And she runs killer seasonal specials around Mother's Day, Halloween, Christmas, and more. I'm telling you, her Halloween sessions, creepy perfection. So, if you're in the Niagara area and looking to capture memories that are hauntingly beautiful, hit up Mel at mel@darkroomphotography.ca or check out her work at www.darkroomphotography.ca. That's Darkroom Photography, where your memories come to life, even in the dark. Looking for your next obsession? The Creators Collective Podcasts is your gateway to the dark, the chilling, and the downright fascinating. We're a community of independent podcasts with one goal: to share the best in true crime, paranormal tales, folklore, and unexplained mysteries. Whether you crave cold cases that won't stay closed, haunted histories that refuse to be forgotten, or stories that make you sleep with the lights on, there's a show waiting for you in the collective. And when you join us, you're not just listening to one podcast. You're stepping into a world of creators who love this stuff as much as you do. Check out the Creators Collective today. Follow the link in our show notes to discover your next favorite podcast. We'll be waiting for you. Support reproductive justice in Niagara. Niagara Reproductive Justice is a grassroots collective based in the Niagara region of Ontario, working to increase visibility and access to sexual and reproductive health care. They support people seeking abortion and other essential care by offering transportation, financial assistance, logistical help, and emotional support. Here's how you can help. You can make a one-time donation. Send an e-transfer to niagarareproductivejustice@gmail.com. Your support helps cover costs like gas for volunteer drivers, overnight stays, childcare, and other urgent needs. You can also support monthly via Patreon. Join their Patreon and support the cause month to month. It's patreon.com/Niagara Reproductive Justice. And you can volunteer your time. NRJ is always looking for volunteers to help with driving, outreach, admin support, and community organizing. If you're looking to make a real impact in the Niagara region, this is a great place to start. Contact them via email or DM them on Instagram or Facebook to learn more. You can find them on Instagram at Niagara Reproductive Justice and on Facebook at Niagara Reproductive Justice. Help amplify access to reproductive care right here in our own backyard. Whether you donate, volunteer, or spread the word, you're a part of the movement.
That was a letter.
That was an email. She read that and was like, good morning to you.
Black and delete.
Yeah, honestly. Okay. Terry, this section, Christine called Arnold Surrounded by Sharks. Several months had already passed since Terry walked out of the gates at William Head Institution. What awaited him was a gorgeous spring on Vancouver Island and a smorgasbord of potential victims he would soon encounter. Much like he had done in between his murders and rapes, Terry focused on easy prey. Just a few months after his release, he had approached a mentally handicapped woman at the Glad Tidings Church in Victoria. He persuaded her to open a joint bank account and was planning on marrying her. Victoria police soon intervened and began investigating him for harassment. Good, yes. He was now living in a seedy apartment on Pendergast Street in Victoria. It was apparently being paid for by an unknown person who was assisting him in writing a book on his life.
Oh, ego.
No, I swear.
I'm so mad.
After enduring well over a year in the Professional Standards Unit, Andrew had toiled for months deciding whether or not to formally address numerous credibility issues within the unit and the service as a whole. One of those issues was how they handled this case. He was cautioned by those around him that if he submitted the report, his career path would end and it was likely he would never be assigned to a specialty unit again. All he had to do was keep his mouth shut and he would most likely continue being promoted.
That's how a lot of police units work.
Yeah, and it's fucking stupid. That's not how it should work. Be better.
That is not how you serve and protect.
And you know what? I was thinking about this the other day, just while we're here on the subject. I'm done with I'm just doing my job. Don't just do your job. Fucking be a human. Be a human and advocate for the people who you see instead of being a fucking lemming for your boss.
Or
that's how change happens, friends. Grassroots.
Doing the bro code.
Not
where
cool.
You don't tell what
Stupid.
When one of your fellow police officers has done something shitty, like raped a person that they are
literally, how is that helping better governance or
it's not.
law and order?
If you have a person in police who is committing crimes,
get him out of there.
That is counterintuitive to what you are supposed to be doing.
Your mission. If not, you're just like a stupid.
Quite literally any other job. If you are not doing what you're supposed to be doing, you get fired.
Yeah.
Everybody else has to pick up the slack for you. Like, fuck. I'm so annoyed.
Okay. Hopping back in. If I can remember where we were.
Prior to submitting.
Yes. Prior to submitting the report, Andrew had all police members involved in the observations read it thoroughly. Each officer corroborated every word written and vowed to say the same when they were interviewed. And they were never interviewed. The report was submitted on October 16th, 2002, and was later posted on the internet under the heading The Mikolajewski Report. He submitted the report to Staff Sergeant James Poole. Andrew walked into his office as he sat in front of his computer and placed it on his desk. He looked up and Andrew said, "I think you should read this. This is not going to be a good day."
Andrew's a little cocky.
Yes. He walked out and within seconds, Poole got to his feet and shut his office door for several hours. Other members in the PSU office encouraged him, stating that he had done the right thing, and all confided once again that his career was likely over. But he did the right thing. And now we're talking about it.
Yeah.
So there you go. See, if you do the right thing, we might talk about you here on Canadian Creepies. And I don't know what other life reward you want.
I mean, we're pretty cool.
Come on. On October 21st, 2002 at 9:05 a.m., Andrew received a phone call from Poole. He asked him to stick around the office as one of the deputy chiefs wanted to speak with him. A short time later, he was told to attend the executive boardroom at PSB. He was then asked to wait by the clerk and was eventually summoned into the same boardroom where he had provided all of the details of failing to obtain a warrant for Ken's residence. Andrew was asked to sit down with Deputy Chief Menno Zacharias and Jim Thompson. Zacharias told him that he was going to be transferred immediately to uniform duties in District 2, St. James, as a result of the report he had written. It was a very brief meeting with little else being said except by Andrew. He candidly told them that he had debated the merits of submitting the report for months, and that he had believed it had to be done. His only request was to be given a few days to clear up some unfinished paperwork. It wasn't very long before the news spread in the service, and subsequently the media, about the report he submitted. He was never described in the newspaper as an officer of great potential and brimming with integrity. Why would he be? Oh, wait, he was described. Yes, that is correct. Sorry. In my head, I thought I was a little ahead there.
It's funny because I was reading along and I was like, what do you mean?
Yes. Sorry. In my head, I was a little ahead of myself and I was thinking about Ken. Andrew's last day in the I don't know why I was like, why would he be described that way? We're talking about Andrew. I'm sorry. Andrew's last day in the unit was Friday, October 25th, 2002. He turned his keys and walked out the 9th floor PSU office with a garbage bag of personal effects over his shoulder. An officer with exemplary work history and no blemishes on his career. Andrew still maintains that submitting the report was the right thing to do. It also set in motion several challenges of the executive by frontline members. This resulted in cash settlement after cash settlement for officers who had been wronged. Andrew also recommended the creation of a police commission in an effort to create checks and balances for the police executive. Several years later, it was created, but it's doubtful its mandate is allowed to oversee the service the way Andrew had envisioned, and it appears to be far too political. As for Terry, Andrew continued to correspond with authorities on Vancouver Island and kept tabs on his whereabouts. He managed to track down one female acquaintance who claimed Terry had admitted to killing 19 girls in Canada and the U.S.
Boo, you whore.
Honestly, he went as far as to boast that his first murder was Barb Stoppel in Winnipeg. During the numerous search warrants executed, Andrew was able to read many of the letters sent to and from Terry. In one of the most revealing, he divulged his greatest fear, to be in the middle of the ocean surrounded by sharks. Andrew had done everything legally possible to effectively prosecute Terry and had come up short in each avenue. To Andrew, his responsibility didn't end with a failed investigation. He believed he had the obligation to expose Terry for what he was and ensure the public was protected as much as possible. He still could not give up. The FBI had recommended that they form an army against him. Unfortunately, their service simply folded its tents. Andrew requested that the RCMP and Victoria Police maintain surveillance on him wherever possible. His anonymity was his strength, allowing him to get away with many of his offenses in the past. Utilizing police authorities and the media, Arnold soon became a frustrated sex offender in the middle of the ocean surrounded by sharks. They did a great job, and all within the law. By 2004, an RCMP task force had been set up to focus on Terry and potentially charge him once again with the murder of Christine Brown. They contacted John Burchill and asked if Andrew was still on the job. They had reviewed his interviews with Terry and were hoping to lay a charge in the near future with Andrew being called to testify. Andrew recalls sitting with RCMP major crimes investigators and all sorts of WPS, so Winnipeg Police Service, top brass in a boardroom. His high-ranked senior officers seemed to salivate, offering the RCMP investigators anything they could provide. The room became silent when they revealed that all they wanted was Andrew's notes and his reports. They're like, that's all we want, guys.
Suck an egg, everybody else.
That's right. Slowly, Terry found himself not being able to do anything without the police or the media watching or reporting on him. Some may ask how he could exist for a few years without offending. The answer is the local police had him under a microscope. In fact, in early 2005, he was seen talking with a young girl on a secluded road, and Central Saanich police interrupted what would have been his next crime. His lust for sex was also getting out of control, and he was being investigated for producing child pornography. This guy gets worse and worse.
As if he couldn't have been bad enough as it was.
I know. Fuck. Victoria Police notified him on March 25th, 2005, that they would be back for a DNA warrant the next day. He also knew that there was the possibility that the RCMP task force would be charging him again for the murder of Christine Brown and may have been afforded a copy of Andrew's interview notes. Terry did not want to go back to the boredom of prison, yet freedom had also brought him chains. Perhaps he also remembered the promise Andrew made to him when he left the segregation unit at William Head, when he said, "I'll be back for you, Terry. Count on it." Andrew's really cool.
I like Andrew.
I know, me
he
too.
is sassy as fuck.
He's so sassy. On March 25th, 2005, Andrew received a phone call at work from Scott Hobbs of the Calgary Police Service. His words were slow and deliberate. Wow. Terry Arnold committed suicide yesterday. He's dead. Fuck, what a coward.
I'm so disappointed in this.
I know.
Every turn of this case has made me so angry.
The first person Andrew isn't it, he killed himself because he couldn't rape anyone.
Like,
that's wild.
You know what? Good.
Well, good. Yeah.
Good. The world needs less of you.
The first person Andrew called after speaking to Hobbs was Rick Stoppel. Although he was relieved to some extent, there would not be full closure. Terry had avoided being brought to justice for murdering his sister. Next, he called Suzanne Wilton and let her know the news. She immediately went to work on another story, perhaps this time bringing some peace to the families of so many of his victims. He then contacted Inspector McCaskill so that someone from the service could advise the media. McCaskill politely informed him that he was not part of the investigation any longer and that he should pass the information on to John Birchill. It's like, you, McCaskill, just pass it on to Birchill yourself. He called Birchill and said he would forward the information on to whoever was in charge, but there was really no one to tell anymore. It was not an ongoing investigation at all and hadn't been for years. Andrew continued to make notifications and would soon learn more about the suicide. What are we supposed to say instead of suicide?
Unalived themselves?
No. Died by suicide. Learned more about how Terry died by suicide. There we go. He had taken, we talked about it in Creators Collective. Anyway.
Oh, yes.
He had taken a large amount of pills and swallowed them down with a 40-ounce bottle of rum. He had also left a 3-paged handwritten suicide note. The note and its contents have never been released to the media or to his family. In fact, it has never been shared with the other police agencies investigating him. Andrew has not seen the note, but he does have knowledge of its content. At no time in Terry's life has he ever taken responsibility for his actions. He would continue this denial even in death. I didn't kill anybody. He wrote much in the same dull fashion as he so many times before denied any wrongdoing. There was, of course, no confession, no dying declaration, and most certainly no admission of any kind. There was, however, the usual self-portrait of him being the victim. The media and police had brought undue attention to him, he wrote, and made it hard for him to have a normal life. How unfortunate that a man who had raped and murdered so many could not be afforded the chance to live a normal life.
If normal to you is raping people, you are not normal.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Go seek help. Get
Yes,
institutionalized.
Yes. Terry also wrote that he stayed on Vancouver Island to avoid a Winnipeg policeman who had been investigating him. It was he and the media that he blamed for all his troubles and ultimately his demise. As for his death, Terry was found in his cesspool of an apartment after someone called Victoria Police to check on his well-being. When they walked in, they found him wearing nothing but his underwear and covered in vomit as porn was playing on his TV.
So he died the way he lived.
Yes. After consuming both the pills and alcohol, he had crawled around on his hands and knees for hours, enduring a slow and painful death. Arnold had made many botched suicide attempts in the past. They were all seen as efforts to portray himself as the tragic hero, the victim, the one in need of pity. Andrew has always maintained that he was far too self-centered and cowardly to ever harm himself. There is no doubt that he took the pills and alcohol, but he was the type of person that would have called someone to let them know what he had done. Then whoever he called would call the police and he would be saved. Whoever he called didn't take the bait this time. Andrew wrote the time and date of Terry's suicide in his last notebook and summed up the investigation with 3 words. End of case.
That was a rough ride.
That was a rough ride. We still have some more to go over, though. Yeah.
A little bit.
I think these are short.
Fairly. So, there were impacts on the Canadian legal system.
I think we can finish this episode today.
Let's get into it, guys.
Yeah, sorry.
So the police integrity is determined by 3 factors: ethics, discretion, and professionalism. Police ethics refers to a system of moral values that are generally accepted as professional standards in policing. In order to foster trust and respect, officers must make wise ethical choices. Too often, they have been guilty of words or no action. At the very outset of the review, the Winnipeg Police Service boasted that they were seekers of the truth. Unfortunately, they also became the keepers of it.
Yes, they did.
It seems like the more they uncovered, the more they hardened the service as an organized, the more hardened
the service
Yes.
as an organization
Thank you.
became.
I
You're
got
welcome.
stuck there for
That's
some
okay.
reason.
Sometimes that happens.
My brain was not braining.
I did that a few times in my section. No stress.
It's all good. I feel we do it both a little bit every
Yeah,
once in a while.
and that's
human
fine.
nature.
Well, by next season, we're not going to stumble at all. You guys will be missing it. You're like, wow, they're so good at this.
Where was I? Andrew believes that there was more than enough information at the time to have established reasonable grounds that Terry Arnold murdered Barbara Stoppel. Instead, he slipped through the cracks and the police focused on Sophonow. The initial investigation was wrought with human errors, including not testing the murder weapon,
Did not test it.
not tracking the cell phone calls from the donut shop to the friend in Texas. From the friend in Texas, sorry.
And
Destruction.
not a cell phone, just a phone call.
Oh, yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Destruction and improper storing of exhibits, tunnel vision, improper photo lineup procedures, police interrogation issues, and missing police notebooks. As damaging as these errors were, they were fleeting in comparison to the most significant. The information necessary to pursue a killer was present long before Arnold would kill again, and yet no one acted. All they had to do, check the fucking pond.
Yeah,
read the report.
Read the report.
Instead of having Andrew do marching drills every morning in 1986, they could have had him reviewing the file in a few hours. In fact, if any one of the investigators in that class could have done it. The case presented one of the most disturbing acts of omission by police service in the history of Canada. What was the result of the combination of a questionable investigation coupled with unwillingness to simply read the report, numerous murders and raped women across Canada, and an innocent man wrongfully labeled as a murderer for so long? And I don't think they ever actually said he was innocent, but they did give him compensation.
Yeah.
Once again, the Stoppel family, year after year, had suffered with no closure. Perhaps there is some who would argue that the hindsight is 20/20. Tell that to what's left of the 8-year-old girl who was sexually assaulted in every way imagined over 100 times. See if those words give her any comfort. The challenge now is for the WPS to admit and apologize to all the unnecessary victims and their families. Ethically, it's the right thing to do. If the WPS remains silent, then perhaps things are worse than we thought. This wasn't the only murder case that was riddled with errors. Perhaps they will open the book on others and let more families know that they too are closed because the missing exhibits or police errors.
Yeah, or because some loser wanted to take some home for his maybe book.
That never, ever happened.
Yeah, wow.
I'm surprised he kept his job.
Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised he kept his job.
I mean, with how shoddy this police force was.
Yeah.
The onus is on the leader of this police service to tell the families the truth. Can we learn from this case and all the others and break away from this tunnel vision mentality? There have been many changes in policing in Winnipeg over the years. Forensic science has come a long way since 1981. Many safeguards are in place to prevent mistakes that happened in the Stoppel case from happening ever again. Nevertheless, policing is still a human process and as such is subjected to all the frailties of a human mind. Winnipeg police saved $100 by not testing the twine in 1981.
Stupid.
You can imagine being a police officer less than a block away from a high priority call and told not to come to take it because you're at the end of your shift. Just because someone has been promoted to the rank of inspector and above does not mean that they have the experience to always make the right call. In fact, the system almost ensures that by the time one reaches that rank and above, they have been removed from frontline policing for many years. And what about our justice system as a whole? With the advent of full disclosure, wrongful convictions have much less likelihood of occurring. But what about the ingredients for tragic crimes occurring in the first place? I'm afraid we have learned very little of this. Terry was labeled by many to be a danger in society. Year after year, murder after murder, we read the same headline. Many offenders many offenders can turn their lives around if given a chance. Others, however, do not, and we continue to release them into the public knowing full well that they will reoffend. It's like releasing a shark into a wading pool and then standing back and wondering why it's attacking children. Over and over, investigators have recommended the best options for any likelihood of success, and each time they have been turned down. Perhaps the tools have been given made them destined to fail. The emotional toll on the reinvestigation team was heavy, enduring a year and a half of being hated by fellow officers, court officials, politicians, all while all along ignoring their own families in the pursuit of justice. If a cold case like this has the potential to become political, it should be handled by an outside agency that has nothing to gain or lose by the findings.
Yeah.
Very valid point. And what became of Andrew? He was blocked from specialty units and promoted for the rest of his promotion for the rest of his year.
For the rest of his career, yeah.
Yes,
and he should have
He
been
should
promoted.
have been
He shouldn't
promoted.
have been blocked. Like,
He was
the only one. He followed the fucking leads.
He was the only
He was the only one who was doing actual police work.
He was the only one who cared.
Should have been running the place.
That makes me so angry for him. Far from being a disgruntled employee, he kept his head up and maintained the highest standard possible in every dimension of his performance. He was later awarded the Police Exemplary Service Medal on behalf of the Government of Canada, and he wanted to give it to Rick Stoppel. That's really sweet, actually.
That is sweet.
In late 2000, while the investigation was on a standstill, investigators had the audacious task of calling
Arduous task.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Of calling retired members who had contact with Sophonow and Terry in the past and ask them for their police notebooks. Some notebooks had been lost in floods, misplaced, or simply thrown out. Long before the inquiry...
Shouldn't those be shredded or something?
I don't even know.
And why are you taking home personal police books?
Shouldn't those be in evidence?
Yeah, like... But,
like, I don't know.
Okay,
That
continue.
makes me mad too. Long before the inquiry, Andrew wrote another inner office memo requesting that all members turn in their notebooks prior to retirement.
There we go.
That's what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Since they are the property of the Winnipeg Police Service, it took years, but that practice is now police policy. So at least something good came out of that.
We love that. Let's talk about the personal impact. So the effects on Thomas Sophonow felt during the initial interview that he was being broken down psychologically. In fact, this breakdown culminated when he was strip searched halfway through the interview. This was not proper police procedure and was later condemned at his public inquiry. Testifying at the inquiry, Sophonow spoke candidly about how being imprisoned and ostracized by his community had left him irremediably broken. Often near tears, he described being kept in segregation for periods of his incarceration at one of the most brutal penitentiaries in the country. Sophonow said he suffered from a litany of stress-related medical problems. The inquiry recommended that Sophonow be compensated for his wrongful conviction, and in 2002 he received $2.6 million from the provincial and federal government, but not until after he had commenced civil litigation and obtained DNA testing, which conclusively established that he could not be the killer.
I would have made like a public announcement, like, "Hey, this guy innocent. We got it wrong.
Yeah.
We are sorry."
No, they can't do that. These are some interviews or statements from Sophonow after the exoneration. Interviews or okay. Tom is not your average wrongfully convicted person. He still suffers from PTSD, but has succeeded in many parts of his life. After the inquiry, he wanted to go back to work and try to lead a normal life. Ultimately, others would not allow this to happen. One day at work, he took his overalls off to go to the washroom. When he returned, he noticed a tag clip on the back of his work clothes he had not seen before. There was one word on it: murderer. He had just been exonerated, and yet some coworker wouldn't let it go. What bothered Tom the most about the incident was that he had no idea how long he had been walking around with the tag on his back.
That's some fucking grade 1 shit.
Like, you're an adult. One person placed it there, so many other coworkers must have seen it and said nothing. Tom quit work and bought a 9,000 square foot home in New Westminster, and he has spent the last few decades restoring it. When speaking with Andrew about his friend David Milgaard, who was another wrongfully convicted person, when we've done an episode on him, David had been given millions in compensation, but had no end of family and friends with itchy palms. He now survives on an allowance from what is left over. That sucks. On the night of December 23rd, 1981, the night of December 23rd, 1981 is best described as a domino effect of tragedy. Each event preyed on the other, leading to the perfect storm of inept investigation, creating an unsolvable murder. So many of the characters involved wish that they had acted differently. Could eyewitnesses have interviewed earlier? Upon discovering Barb's body, could someone have removed the twine from her neck instead of waiting for an ambulance? Yes. Could witnesses driving by have assisted Dirksen fighting with her killer on the bridge? What if that downtown cruiser car just over the bridge was allowed to go? Sophonow now lives in New Westminster, BC, with his second wife and their 3 children. Diagnosed as suffering from a case of PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome, that may never... or post-traumatic stress disorder, but I guess if it's long form, it's post-traumatic stress syndrome, that may never be alleviated. Sophonow decided against returning to full-time employment and has lived largely off his compensation. Despite Sophonow's acquittal, many still believed him to be guilty. He was threatened on several occasions and his home was firebombed. His daughter once happened to see some old television news footage of the crime and asked him, "Daddy, are you a murderer?" On June 8th, 2000, the government of Manitoba issued a news release in which the Attorney General apologized to Sophonow and stated that he was innocent.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah.
So, wrongful convictions. Here's how they happen. It's an absolute dumpster fire that is the justice system primarily. We like to think that it is a well-oiled machine, but honestly, it's more like a machine designed by a toddler on a sugar crash.
Yeah.
I think that's
Kirstine, for sure.
Here's how the detectives managed to lock up wrongful persons while the actual killer is probably at home watching Netflix. 1, the I saw what I saw fallacy of eyewitness misidentification.
Sorry, I like what she titled it. Here's the recipe for a modern witch hunt.
That's true. Yeah. Especially in this case. This is the MVP of wrongful convictions, showing up in about 70% of DNA exonerations. Human memory is basically a corrupt hard drive. Add a suggestive detective into the mix, and suddenly a witness is 100% sure the guy in the lineup is the killer, even though the guy was actually 3 states away at a cat show. The gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss method, which results in false confessions. You'd never confess to something you didn't do, right? Wrong. After 12 hours in a windowless room with a cop screaming that you're going to get the needle unless you sign a deal, even you would start wondering if you accidentally murdered someone during your lunch break. Science-ish and faulty forensics. We're talking about junk science that belongs in the sci-fi B movies, outdated hair comparisons, bite mark analysis, which is basically astrology for teeth, and experts who treat their opinions like they're the word of God. Actually, there is something about transfer DNA as well, or secondary DNA. So say you cut yourself and then you reach for the doorknob and your blood's on the doorknob. Then somebody comes behind you, touches that doorknob, your blood is on their hand. They then go and kill somebody and now your DNA is on the murder weapon.
Oh my God.
So that can...
Don't bleed on a doorknob.
Yeah, DNA is not entirely foolproof.
Yes.
The blinker effect or tunnel vision. Once investigators pick a bad guy, they get a terminal case of selective hearing. Any evidence is treated like an annoying pop-up ad.
Any evidence of innocence.
Of innocence, yes, is treated like an annoying pop-up ad that they just keep clicking X until they get the conviction that they want. Snitches get riches, perjury and informants. The jailhouse snitches. Nothing says reliable testimony like a career criminal who suddenly remembered a full confession because the DA offered to shave 10 years off of his sentence. It's amazing what the heart recalls when freedom is on the line. My lawyer is a potted plant problem, inadequate defense. If you're broke, you are assigned a public defender who has 400 other cases and about $12 in their budget for investigation. It's hard to fight the full power of the province when your legal counsel is overwhelmed, underpaid, and fueled entirely by spite and vending machine Cheetos. The bottom line is the system isn't broken. It's working exactly how it was built. Fast, loud, and often the wrong person in the jumpsuit. There are systemic failures. Procedural errors. The Sophonow inquiry identified numerous deficiencies. Thank you. And systemic problems that beset Sophonow's police investigation and prosecution, resulting in a miscarriage of justice. It concluded that police can develop tunnel vision at an early stage in the investigation. As a result, they focused on Sophonow as the killer to the exclusion of all other suspects, failing to accept any evidence or explanation that was contrary to their theory. The police tunnel vision stems from their failure to obtain the inexpensive testing on the twine used to strangle the victim, leading to their mistaken but powerful belief that the killer was from British Columbia. The inquiry further found that Sophonow may have been victimized by coercive police practices. The Vancouver interrogation was improperly performed, defectively recorded, and thus generated misleading evidence against him. This investigation had lasting and traumatizing effects on Sophonow. Compounding the impact of this misconduct, the inquiry found that prosecutors had improperly failed to disclose potential crucial information to the Sophonow's defense counsel. Notably, the Crown never disclosed the fact that the test was available to establish the province in which the twine was used in the homicide. In addition, the Crown failed to disclose the evidence from eyewitnesses and incarcerated informants. These problems included the threats and incentives that inspired the inmates to come forward, the fact that certain witnesses had undergone police hypnosis, which can create false memories, and the improper police lineup procedures. In addition to the blatant unfairness of Sophonow's special photo, the lineups were not blind, that is, police administrating them knew Sophonow was the suspect and where he was in the lineup. The lineup was also presented simultaneously rather than in sequence, a dangerous practice that invites witnesses to select the closest available match.
Okay. And this is like the last section. This is just like, I don't know, I had a section. I don't think, do I need to read this even? I'll read this last bit here. Just modern, here's a modern reflection. In 2020, Thomas Sophonow offers a reward to anyone who can tell him what the new evidence was that exonerated him. I want to know what it was that clearly proved me innocent, said Thomas Sophonow, who was officially cleared of the murder of Barbara Stoppel in June of 2000. Maybe it's just for closure, a need for closure. Winnipeg police announced in June 2000 that evidence had cleared Sophonow in the killing of Stoppel, a donut shop clerk. But the 66-year-old says even after all these years, he's never known exactly what that evidence is. But that's because there is none. This is just the police continuing to play games. Sophonow stumbled upon a news article that said DNA evidence was used to clear his name. A surprise given he had always believed that there was no DNA evidence.
And they did say that they couldn't get a warrant for DNA for Terry Arnold because there wasn't any evidence.
Yes. I was just on the internet and I was looking up another case and it popped up, he said. Since I found this a couple days ago, I haven't been able to sleep properly and I've been tossing and turning. Sophonow is now offering $150,000 to anyone who can tell him what the evidence was that cleared him. The mystery about the evidence that cleared him has remained. If my lawyers knew, they didn't tell me, and I'm sure if they knew, they would have told me, he said. Sophonow had submitted DNA and hair samples to the police at the time of his arrest, and then again nearly 2 decades later when the case was being re-examined. He said he won't ask a lawyer to try to get the answers about the new evidence, nor ask the police directly because he doesn't trust he would get the truth. The reason I'm doing it this way, offering a reward, is if I do approach the police, they're going to say, no, there's an ongoing investigation. In my considered opinion, there is no ongoing investigation.
That was their excuse for everything.
And that's the fucking Barb Stoppel case. 7 parts.
It was a deep dive, folks.
Deep dive. Christine.
Whoa! Thank you, dear listener, for sticking along for this.
Guess what? We still have to do Creep of the Week.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay. This one you're going to recognize because this one says this. I have a Creep of the Week suggestion. It's not one person in particular, and this was global. But you can bet your ass that 64 million men, some of them were Canadian.
That was me. I suggested this.
Yes. And I've been anxiously awaiting for this. Okay. Accept all cookies. Proceed. This is from CNN.
I am outraged by this case.
Okay. This is what this is doing. Is this how you read it? Okay. Yeah. This is Peter. He lives in Poland with his wife, who's in her 40s. And he says, hello, is anyone awake? And he says, I managed to record a clip once when I had my last 2 blank pills. My wife doesn't even know that I recorded it. And then the text says, but we can show you the messages he sent us. What he says he is doing to his wife is a crime. And then posing as a user, we found him in a private group, one of many on the messaging app Telegram. And the groups, the like messages are like, who has experience drugging their wives? Been wanting to do this to my missus. Drug her. The abuse shared via video and pictures in this group of nearly 1,000 users was treated as a commodity. But for survivors, including 3 who spoke with CNN for this story, the consequences are devastating. And we're exposing a global rape academy.
Since I sent you that article, the amount of people who have gone to the site went from 64 million to 81.
I hate that.
In 1 month, 81 million people.
That's gross. It's gross. Okay. The world was confronted by this form of internet-enabled abuse in 2004 during the mass rape and drugging trial of Dominique Pellicot and 50 other men in southern France.
For those of you who don't remember, he was the one who got caught taking pictures.
Yeah, I think so.
Of girls under their skirts, and then they went through his phone and found that he had been drugging his wife for years. And sending men over who would pay to have sex with his unconscious wife.
I hate that.
I think there were 50 men involved, but there were 300 who knew and said nothing.
It was a so-called dating website in a chat room called Without Her Knowledge that Pellicot was able to connect with dozens of other men to instigate the rapes of his then-wife, Giselle. While drugged unconscious by him, she was raped over 200 times by 70 men, not all of whom could be tracked down by police. The Pellicot case briefly shone a spotlight on this dark corner of the internet, but while Coco, the website involved, was shut down and public attention moved elsewhere, this behavior did not disappear. A months-long CNN as Equals investigation has uncovered a hidden online world where the commodification and amplification of sexual violence against women is flourishing. One porn site, motherless.com, is home to more than 20,000 videos of so-called sleep content uploaded by users with hundreds of thousands of views. The website, which had around 62 million visits in February alone and whose core audience is in the United States, describes itself as a moral free file host where anything legal is hosted forever. The legality of some material posted is in serious doubt. So-called sleep content is categorized using descriptive tags such as passed out and eye check. Ew, and then there's a picture of them like doing an eye check on someone. In these videos, Men film themselves lifting the closed eyelids of women to show they're sleeping or sedated, with some eye check videos surpassing 50,000 views. Inside the motherless sleep community, first reported on by German investigative journalists Isabel Beer and Isabel Stroll, members trade advice on how to drug their partners. On the Triple Z chat group, with which a motherless user had linked to and where we first met Peter, they do the same. CNN is not providing the names and doses of the specific medicines the users said they employ. So user 1 says, been wanting to do this to my missus for ages. I can't get blank, but honestly, she's scared of overdose. User 2, always start low. You're thinking long game. So if first time ain't enough, up the dose.
That's disgusting.
User 3, blank meal and a milkshake. She felt nauseous, so gave her tablet of Imodium. Was blank.
Imodium?
Yeah, Imodium in air quotes. It was actually something else. Did fuck her well, but she was not out enough and had no more blank on me. One motherless user claimed to be running a business selling the dispatching sleeping liquids to any address in the world. The man who said he was based in Ceuta, a tiny Spanish exclave on the North African coast, said on his Telegram account that it would cost 150 euros or $175 for a bottle of the liquid that he said was tasteless and odorless. Your wife won't feel anything and won't remember anything. While the platforms vary inside such groups, video is king. Some users advertise live streams showing the abuse of drugged women in real time for $20 per viewer, with cryptocurrency the preferred means of payment. This is CNN asking, how are your streams going? Making any money? And the user says, yeah, it went well. Yeah, it went well. That night, 3 guys bought, and I streamed my unconscious wife to them. And CNN said, and did they direct you? And the user said, they told me what to do, and I did it. Another user who said he was based in West Africa shared a clip from a previous live stream he'd done to entice us to use his next. In it, a woman who said he was sleeping... The woman who he said was his sleeping wife could be heard snoring as he climbs on top of her and the clip ends. In Poland, the woman Peter said was his wife also appears to be unaware of what is happening to her. Peter says, I still have a few photos, but it's hard for me to put her to sleep. Men in these groups operate shielded by the anonymity of the internet, but they also find a sense of community and perverse camaraderie as they normalize abuse. For months, Peter spoke openly with CNN and shared what he said was his address. Okay, there's not much more left. Just I want to let everyone know. I'm like, there's not much more, but there is much more. What did Peter say? Peter said 2 sleeping tablets should be enough, plus some drinks. Even 1 is enough if there's more alcohol. CNN said, does your wife suspect anything? And Peter said, for now, I'm hiding everything well, but I have to be careful. But when it came to meeting face-to-face, he resisted. We wanted to confirm who he said he was, so we traveled to his hometown in Poland. CNN found Peter and his wife at a local restaurant. Uncertain how he might react and unwilling to put her in danger, we chose not to confront him, instead reaching out to police about our findings. Peter is just one actor in a vast global network, his wife likely among many unaware victims, but some survivors know. And then there's this, one called, But He's Your Husband. So I assume this is from a woman's perspective.
It doesn't matter. Spousal rape is illegal.
And been
it's
illegal.
Disgusting.
It's been illegal.
No means no, and you have no right to the access of anyone else's body.
You just don't.
Period. Keep your hands to your fucking self.
Yeah. When Zoe Watts learned that her husband of 16 years had been crushing her son's sleeping medication into her tea and raping her while she was passed out, it shattered her world, I would say. We worry about who's coming behind us walking down the street or who's even friending us on Facebook. You know, we worry about going to our car late at night in a car park, but we don't worry about who you live next to. I didn't realize I had to, Watts said. Her then husband's confession came on an otherwise ordinary Sunday in 2018 after the couple, who share 4 children, had returned from church. He reeled off a list of his wrongdoings as if it was, a shopping list, Watts said, speaking to CNN at her house in Devon, England. He told her the abuse had been going on for years. He just sort of said, I've been using our son's sleeping medication to put in your last cup of tea at night to tie you down, to take photographs, and rape you. The admission left Watts questioning all their intimate moments. At the end of a very busy day, I was just grateful I had a cup of tea before I went to bed because I was so tired and I didn't have to make it, she said, adding, you don't expect anything other than innocence to come from your partner. Concerned about her children and still grappling with what had happened to her, she initially kept it a secret. The internal struggle eventually took a toll on her health. After a serious panic attack, Watts told her sister. Then their mother called the police. While she believes pressing charges was the right decision, at the time it was agonizing. A 4-year legal process saw her children become targets for bullying at school and left her social network all but destroyed. Watts said one of the many difficult aspects of her ordeal has been confronting people's assumptions about abuse within a marriage, even though she recognizes that they are rooted in misinformation and unconscious bias. I've had people say, yeah, but he's your husband, or, but you weren't awake. So it's not the same thing as being taken down an alleyway, is it? Oh my God.
No, it is.
It's the exact same. Her ex-husband is serving an 11-year sentence for rape, sexual assault by penetration, and drugging. Watts still struggles to use the word rape to describe what happened to her. It's too painful. There's still a shame and a guilt that comes with that. Oh, maybe I should have known, or I can't believe I didn't realize. Why didn't I connect those dots, she said. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to read anymore. I think
There are a couple things I want to say to this
Okay.
as well. There have been people who have said, release the names of everybody. There was a video I had seen where someone was like, to do that though, since these are mostly, like, it's not like politicians in the Epstein file, but these are people in power making decisions on how we live our life. These are people who have everyday normal jobs. And a lot of people, even if you don't release the victims' names.
Are you talking about the Epstein list?
No, I'm talking about these men.
Oh, release those men's names.
Release the
Okay.
men's names
Right.
on who have gone to this website. A lot of women have no idea that this is being done to them. And the way they learn should not be by releasing the names
of
to
all
public.
these husbands.
And you're also not protecting their anonymity. Even if you don't release their names, anybody who knows them in their life, if they go through those lists, can go, oh, that's so-and-so's husband.
Yeah.
And then it's re-traumatizing them. So
Yeah.
I do understand that point. There was also this guy in Brazil who was just arrested for murdering his ex-girlfriend.
Oh my God.
And on his computer history, they found him visiting, there are YouTube accounts. There's over like 170 in Brazil alone, where they have videos on how to deal with being rejected. And it is beat them, stab them, kill
Oh my
them,
God.
karate,
Why?
martial arts moves.
What?
Over 170 in just Brazil on YouTube accounts.
That's wild.
It's crazy.
Do
eh?
something more productive with your time.
And the men out there who are saying it was 65 views to the website, not signing up for the actual academy, get fucked.
Yeah, you're still looking at the website.
If your concern is presenting the statistics properly and not the content of what the actual crimes were, there is something wrong with you and you need therapy.
Genuinely,
And
you need to grow the compassion.
If you want to look at statistics, 97% of violent crimes are committed by men.
by men.
96% of rapes, including rapes on other men, are committed by men. And 92% of child assaults are committed by men.
By men.
The number one cause of death in pregnant women in North America is
men.
murdered by their partner, their baby daddy.
Yeah.
So take that into consideration before you say, it was just views to the website.
So you can send us an email at CanadianCreepiespodcast@gmail.com. You can email Christine at CanadianCreepiesResearch, not researcher, research @gmail.com. You can email Amanda, crookedpathsocial@gmail.com. You can find me as Canadian Creepies on Instagram. That's the only platform you will find Canadian Creepies, as Canadian Creepies.
Yes.
Otherwise, you will find me as Radio Valerie on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and anywhere else that there is available social media. But not Twitter. I don't do the Twitter anymore.
No.
Too old for that. And Amanda, you can find her as Down the Crooked Path. All those
Everywhere.
places. Absolutely everywhere. And you can find Christine, Canadian Creepies Researcher. That one's Researcher.
Yes.
And that one is on Instagram and Facebook. And you can Nominate your creep of the week, your hometown haunt,
Current case.
or your current case at those email addresses, or you can go to speakpipe.com/Canadian Creepies and verbally tell me. And then I will take that clip and I will put it into an episode.
She will.
And if you want to see us on video soon and get Amanda's tarot card pulls,
Weekly tarot pulls.
then you can go to patreon.com/Canadian Creepies. And if you're an artist, you're going to reach out to me. You're going to do it. You're going to say, this might be what I need. And we're going to work together. And we're going to sell some of your merch. And you're going to make more money than me. And that's important to me.
It's community over competition.
That's right. Thanks. You know, I haven't heard that phrase in a while. We'll see you next week. We finished Barbara Stoppel, guys.
Woo-hoo!
We did it. Thanks, Christine.
Creep you later.
Don't let the bad creeps bite.